Across protected coastal waters, a luxury pearl necklace begins in a place that looks nothing like a jewelry workshop. Its raw material is grown inside living mollusks, shaped by biology long before any human hand can polish, drill, or string it. By the time a finished strand reaches a display case, dozens of pearls may have been selected from thousands, matched so carefully that differences in size, color, luster, and surface quality nearly disappear. The transformation is slow, delicate, and unforgiving because a pearl cannot simply be melted down and remade if something goes wrong. The process begins on marine pearl farms, where oysters are raised in sheltered coastal environments under carefully managed conditions. Depending on the species and growing region, the pearls produced can differ naturally in body color, overtone, shape, size, and the character of the nacre that forms their surface. Young oysters must first grow strong enough to tolerate the next step. Until then, farm crews focus on animal health, water conditions, available food, temperature, and the general stability of the growing area. Once selected oysters are healthy and mature enough, specialists prepare them for nucleation. Weak, damaged, or stressed animals may be rejected before the procedure because successful pearl culture depends on recovery as much as implantation. The shell is opened only enough to allow delicate work inside. In many bead-cultured saltwater pearls, a smooth nucleus is placed into the oyster together with a carefully prepared piece of mantle tissue from a donor animal. That tiny piece of tissue has an essential role. It helps form the pearl sac around the inserted nucleus, creating the biological structure that will later deposit nacre. After the procedure, the oyster is returned to the water and given time to recover. From this point forward, the farm cannot simply manufacture a perfect pearl on command. It can only manage conditions that give the animal the best possible chance to build one. Layer by microscopic layer, nacre begins to accumulate around the nucleus. Over many months, and in some cases much longer, these deposits create the pearl's outer surface and characteristic luster. Species, farming method, environment, and target size all influence how long cultivation continues. The result remains uncertain throughout the process. Some oysters fail to produce a usable pearl, while others create shapes, surfaces, or colors that may be beautiful but unsuitable for a premium matched necklace. During the growing period, crews repeatedly lift baskets or panels from the water for inspection and cleaning. Marine growth, such as algae and barnacles, can accumulate on equipment and shells, reducing water flow and making the farm harder to manage. Regular maintenance keeps the oysters accessible and helps preserve stable growing conditions. Workers also watch for damaged cages, predators, mortality, storms, and sudden environmental changes that could affect an entire batch. When the planned harvest point arrives, the suspended systems are raised carefully and transferred to a protected work area. Each shell now contains the result of months or years of growth, but the true quality of that result is still hidden. Opening the oyster is the first moment when the finished pearl can actually be judged. Technicians recover the cultured pearl from the pearl sac and place it into a tray or container without scratching or damaging its surface. The reveal is never completely predictable. Some pearls emerge round, bright, and highly reflective. Others may be oval, drop-shaped, circled, baroque, or marked by small pits, rings, wrinkles, or uneven areas. Even pearls from the same farm can look very different when viewed closely. Harvest lots are therefore kept organized so producers can track where pearls came from, compare quality between batches, and use those results to refine future cultivation decisions. Freshly harvested pearls are cleaned gently to remove residue while protecting the nacre. Their outer surface is much more delicate than that of many mineral gemstones, so aggressive abrasion can permanently reduce luster or create visible damage. Washing, rinsing, and careful drying reveal the natural surface more clearly and prepare each pearl for the first serious quality assessment. Large batches are spread across illuminated work areas where graders can compare them under consistent light. The first sorting passes usually separate obvious differences in size and shape. Round pearls may be divided from near-round, oval, drop, button, circled, or baroque forms depending on the intended design. This early separation reduces a mixed harvest into groups that can be evaluated much more precisely. Size grading follows, commonly using measurements in millimeters. A difference that seems insignificant in isolation can become obvious when pearls sit next to one another in a necklace. Mechanical sieves, gauges, or other measuring tools can accelerate basic sorting, but dimensions are only one part of the final grade. Luxury jewelry depends on how a group looks together, not simply on whether individual pieces fall within the same numerical range. Luster is one of the most important visual qualities. Graders look at the strength, sharpness, and character of reflected light across the surface. A pearl with crisp, bright reflections can appear dramatically different beside one with softer or weaker luster, even if their size and color are similar. Surface condition is examined at the same time for pits, bumps, scratches, wrinkles, and other irregularities that may reduce value or complicate drilling. Color adds another layer of complexity. Pearls can carry subtle body colors and overtones, and those differences become much easier to notice when many are arranged side by side. Under controlled neutral lighting, graders can separate tones that might disappear under warm showroom illumination. Nacre quality also matters because the visible surface must not only look attractive, but remain suitable for drilling, handling, and long-term wear. For a single pearl, these characteristics can be judged independently. For a necklace, however, the challenge becomes matching. Size, shape, color, luster, surface quality, and overall visual balance must work together across dozens of pieces. A pearl that looks excellent on its own may still be rejected from a particular strand because it interrupts the rhythm of the group. Only after this layered grading process are the strongest candidates prepared for jewelry making. Some pearls may receive gentle finishing or polishing intended to clean and brighten the surface, but the goal is not to reshape them. Their form and outer beauty have already been created by the mollusk. Human work at this stage is focused on preserving that natural surface while making each piece ready for precise assembly. Before drilling begins, technicians study the individual pearl from several angles. Shape, blemishes, and the strongest visual face all influence where the hole should be placed. For a necklace, the drill path must be aligned carefully so the pearl sits naturally when threaded. The chosen orientation can also place less desirable surface marks closer to the drill line or toward an area that will be less visible in the finished strand. The pearl is secured in a precision holder that prevents unwanted rotation. A fine drill then approaches the selected point under controlled alignment. Because nacre can chip around an opening, the operation depends on sharp tooling, steady pressure, and careful positioning rather than aggressive cutting. In high-precision work, drilling can be approached from opposite sides so the two paths meet near the center, reducing the risk of damage around the outer edges. The hole itself is small, but its accuracy has a major effect on the final result. If the angle is wrong, the pearl can twist or tilt when assembled. If the edge chips, the defect may remain visible around the cord. After drilling, each piece is inspected again for cracks, rough openings, chipped nacre, or alignment problems. Pearls that fail this inspection are removed from premium selections before they can weaken the finished necklace. Now the process changes again. The focus is no longer the condition of one pearl, but the appearance of a complete sequence. Graders place drilled pearls into long channels or trays and begin arranging them side by side. The order may be changed repeatedly until neighboring pieces transition smoothly in diameter, tone, luster, and shape. For a uniform necklace, the objective is consistency from one end to the other. For a graduated design, the size changes deliberately, often building toward larger pearls near the center and decreasing symmetrically toward the clasp. Either approach requires balance. Measurements provide a starting point, but visual harmony determines whether the strand actually looks refined. Luster is especially demanding during matching. One dull pearl can stand out immediately beside pearls with sharper reflections. Color must also flow naturally across the sequence, including subtle overtones that may appear cream, silver, pink, green, or other hues depending on the pearl type. Small surface marks can sometimes be oriented toward less visible areas, but they are not erased. Craftsmanship simply presents each pearl from its strongest angle. The full sequence is checked again under consistent lighting, then rearranged if necessary. This can take longer than expected because the human eye catches changes that basic measurements do not. Once the order is finally approved, the pearls are kept in sequence so that the visual progression is not lost during stringing. A fine, durable cord is prepared in a thickness that can pass through the small drilled openings while supporting the finished necklace. Silk is traditionally associated with many classic pearl strands, although the exact material depends on the design and workshop. The pearls are then threaded one by one in the planned order, turning a carefully graded layout into a single continuous piece. For many fine necklaces, a knot is tied between neighboring pearls. The knots keep the nacre surfaces from rubbing directly against one another and also help limit pearl loss if the cord ever breaks. What looks like a decorative tradition therefore serves a practical purpose. Each knot must sit tightly against the pearl because loose spacing creates visible gaps and can disturb the smooth curve of the strand. The craftsperson continues across the necklace while controlling tension and flexibility. If the cord is pulled too loosely, spacing can become uneven. If it is too tight, the strand may feel stiff instead of draping naturally. By the time the last pearls are added, dozens of separate organic gems must move together as one object. Near the ends, the strand is prepared for the clasp. Metal fittings, cord, and finishing techniques have to connect securely without creating a bulky transition. The clasp acts as the mechanical endpoint of the necklace, but its design should support the pearls rather than distract from them. Depending on the piece, workshops may use precious metal clasps with polished surfaces, decorative details, or discrete safety features. Once both ends are secured, the necklace can be lifted from the work surface and evaluated as a complete form. A well-made strand should curve smoothly, without sharp kinks, twisted pearls, sudden gaps, or abrupt changes in visual weight. Individual pearls can be rotated slightly where necessary so the strongest face and luster remain oriented toward the front. Luxury workshops may compare the finished piece with design specifications, grading notes, or reference samples before approval. If one pearl suddenly appears too dark, too dull, too large, or too blemished, it can still be replaced. That correction is not always simple. Part of the strand may need to be reopened, the original sequence preserved, and a replacement pearl matched closely enough that the overall balance remains unchanged. After assembly adjustments are complete, the necklace is cleaned again using methods suitable for delicate pearl surfaces. Handling marks are removed without exposing the nacre to harsh treatment. Under soft, controlled light, the individual pearls should now read as one continuous object. Farming, grading, drilling, matching, knotting, and metalwork have finally converged into the recognizable form of a luxury pearl necklace. Final quality control begins with a complete visual inspection. Inspectors evaluate symmetry, matching, luster, surface condition, spacing, and the balance of the entire strand. Length and proportion are confirmed, while the clasp is opened and closed repeatedly to check secure operation and alignment. Every knot and drilled opening receives attention because small assembly defects can become much more serious after repeated wear. The necklace is viewed from several angles. A blemish that seems hidden from the front can become obvious when the strand moves, and a slight twist may reveal that one pearl is not sitting correctly. Inspectors also look for frayed cord, loose spacing, chipped nacre around holes, or weakness near the end fittings. A premium piece is not approved simply because most of it looks good. Consistency must continue across the entire object. For high-value jewelry, additional documentation or laboratory examination may be used when identification, treatment status, or quality classification requires independent verification. Gemological laboratories can study internal structures and other features with specialized imaging and analytical methods, helping distinguish cultured pearls from other materials and investigate unusual characteristics. The level of testing depends on the piece, market, and documentation requirements.